West till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. One west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of everything. Speaking heresy and get you fucked up apparently. It's like they bury me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar like you're listening. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get a dividend till we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nominally and dominant. So what the fuck you trying to do? Rhyming comical. This is funny until I'm honor you. Bring apocalypse to the pussy niggas. Poppin' shit. Team of all-stars. I cook them up like a Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and the apologists. Take vagina so we go check on the gynecologist. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way you're rhyming is a regurgitate for the audience. It's all applauding this little competition. It's fraudulent. From the era when it's smoking on like a ball and the flow pretty stupid. Shit, got her all the sense on the dominance. But it's probably prominent. Cause I be one west to the depth to the baby. I'm one west to the bury me. I be one west to the depth to the bury me. I'm one west to the bury me. I be one west to the depth to the bury me. I'm one west to the bury me. I be one west to the depth to the bury me. I'm one west to the bury me. They got a nigga quiet, use my maneuvers, but I'm proud like I got proof eyes for Uber. Rhymes hard like the baby who I'm the loser. 9 million losers, 17 in the room. Only me a few percent of the young people. I got a nigga, while a nigga with every dollar. They ride by $1,000 like they send me holler. A showstopper till the rollers in the TV boppers. But now I'm going around the corner, see me in my pockets. I put his bitches on the block, motherfucker the chopper. The score like he's already in the freaking mama. The marijuana say I got the loud side of it. When I'm a born nigga rapper, do it like I do it. I love spinning your right over when they eat. So none of them can get with the fire around with me. And I had a nigga still like the fire and deep. And I'm still going so tight up. Every bar works hard like a fool. Like a fool at night. And it comes with the sound of love. I'm one west to the depth to the bury me. I'm one west to the bury me. I be one west to the left to the bury me. I'm one west to the bury me. I be one west to the depth to the bury me. I'm one west to the bury me. I be one west to the depth to the bury me. I'm one west to the bury me.
Shalom, Israel. This is I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General Yohana. Started out of 125th Street in Harlem, New York. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. We are the home of the truth. We started in 1969, and we teach that the Blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Now, I was just sitting here thinking the other day, it's because I feel as though we get a bad label. But if people want to label as us as racist for claiming our history, for claiming our records, for coming back to our culture, so be it. But how could you say we're racist when we're inclusive? We include the Hispanics. We include the Native Americans. And we're all different shades. In I.S.U.P.K, we do not suffer from colorism. You know, the color of your skin does not matter to us. What matters to us is your ancestral heritage. That's what binds us together. It's really in the blood. We are blood brothers. And that just does not include everyone. That does not mean that we're not inclusive. So that's just a way of the powers that be that try to push you in a different direction away from your culture, from embracing your heritage, your records, your Father, your God, the only God. And I've heard people say, well, why us and this and the other people? But the Most High says he didn't choose us because we were the most. He chose us because we were the least, because he were going to make us mighty and great so that his power could be manifested. And it's all for his glory. So with that, today we're going to get into today's topic, which will things ever be like Salakia, Dr. Martin Luther King dream? But before I get that far, let me give my brothers a proper greeting. Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Baraka Thumb. And then I want to give my sisters a proper greeting. Yahweh Shamar Ilathan by Hashem Yahweh Shai. So yes, the topic is, will things ever be like Dr. Martin Luther King dream? No. That is a fairy tale. That's something that that's a speech that he didn't even write himself. That's a speech that was written for him. And it's not biblical. It's not in the Bible, where children and people from all nations are going to join hand in hand. That's not biblical. That's just it's a dream. That's why he also said, I fear as though I had led my people into a burning house. But, people could say anything, which they have been doing. So the best thing for us to do is go into our records and check what our records that were left for us for this time, so that we could have clarification and see what it says. So with that, I'm going to go to Jeremiah chapter 23, starting at verse 25. That's Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 25. See, and let's just see what our records have to say about this. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 25. I have heard what the prophets said that prophesies lies in my name. So, Akia, let me read that first phrase again. I have heard what the prophets said that prophesies lies in my name. He's heard all this. He's hearing the lies. They have not fallen on deaf ears. I'm going to continue. Saying, I have dreamed. I have dreamed. Boom. Now I ask you, who is the one that was running around here saying, I have a dream? Let me start that over again. So, if you might want to mark this down so you could wake up some other brothers and sisters. Each one teach one, because they don't know this information. This is probably something they've never heard before. And that's Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 25. I have heard what the prophets said that prophesies lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the hearts of the prophets that prophesies lies? Yea, they are prophets of deceit of their own heart. They prophesize it, they're after their own lust. I mean, people don't like it, but Martin Luther King, he loved it. He was Joe Slick, sneaky, even though there's no law against having another wife. He was sneaking around on Loretta, and there is a law against being with the other nations. And he was with the other nations. So he was a lawbreaker. He was chasing after his own heart's desire. And what came with this dream that he had? What came with it? What is that? I could never say this right. The LGBTQ community, that came with us fighting for civil rights. How do you want to live an alternate lifestyle? That is your choice. We were born black. You were not born with a woman's organ. You chose to cut your manhood off and try and make a woman's organ. It's still not a woman's organ. You are still not a woman, and you never will be, because you will never, ever be able to give childbirth, and you will never, ever be multitask like women are. You just won't. Vice versa. For women, you will never be a man. You will never have that strength and those stronger bones that us as men have. And the Bible teaches reincarnation. And if you are a man now, you were a man in the past. If you are a woman now, you were a woman in the past. There's, there's nothing that's changing your sexes in this book whatsoever. That's something that the heathens, the other nations come up with, like even when you look at that, what is it? The Satan symbol that they have is the head of a goat, breast, male and female organs. Anything goes. Bestiality, men on men, women on women, which is completely against what this book teaches. So, that's what MLK dream that he sold on and they're still marching to this day. And things are going backwards. They're taking people's voting rights away in Mississippi. Tennessee, they supposed to give the black community another seat. The governor or whoever it was said they're not going to do it, just completely breaking the law. Why? Because they're unjust people. They're just unjust, So this is exactly what it has been, and what it is a dream that is not going to be fulfilled. If it was going to be fulfilled, it would have been in this book. We are never going to walk hands in hand. The Most High meant for us to be separate from the very beginning. From the very beginning, we were meant to be separate. So with that, I'm going to prove it to you from the very beginning that we were meant to be separate. From the Garden of Eden, we all know snakes don't talk. The Garden of Eden was different nations of people. That's what the Garden of Eden was. Adam and Eve was taken out of that garden because they weren't staying separate when they were in the garden. So they were cast out because they were supposed to be separate from the beginning. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse 6. From the very beginning. Genesis chapter 11, verse 6. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Verse 7. Go to, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from this upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build the city. Right there, they were building the Tower of Babel. They were all together. Everybody speaking the same language. They were holding hands. But the Most High didn't mean for them to be together. He looked down there and said, man, these people just gonna do anything. They ain't gonna listen to me. They building this tower up here, and they supposed to be separate. Shalom, shalom. They're supposed to be separate. Let me go down here and just change all their languages up so that they will have to be separate. Because we were meant to be separate. He's separating us from people that he knows that are evil and wicked. No matter what, they are not going to be fair to you. You could just turn on the news right now and hear the Most High's plea. He's been pleading with us all this time. To this day, just turn on the news. It's just this always, what was it? I just saw where this officer just got fired for letting the dog loose on the truck driver. Truck driver hands up in the air. Other police officers is yelling, don't let the dog go, while he has his hands up in the air. Don't let the dog go. They trying to tell him, but a body cam is on. This idiot let the dog go. Fired him, dog went up there, chewed the man. That's just one of several examples. We've had several here in Portland that I brought up recently in other classes. So just from the gate, that doesn't make you racist. You can still speak to your neighbors, but I'm not going camping with Bob. I'm sorry, I'm not going camping. Karen, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'm not coming over for your whatever dinner you're having. I'm not coming, but we cool. See now, when we like that, especially in my instance, I've been called racist. And I've asked people, well, how does that make me racist? I said, it's okay for Bob not to want to come over to my house when I invite him. Why am I racist for not wanting to go to Bob's house? That's not being racist. It's just like, hey man, I'm not gonna get over there and you got your little friends, they got the little sly little comments. They start drinking beer, hooping and hollering, you know. For me, when I tell, especially here in Portland, Portland is big problem with jungle fever. But when I tell brothers that I only mess with women that are Black, Hispanic, or Native American, they call me racist. And I'll be like, well, look, I ain't got nothing against them, but my God told me no, and I'm going to follow what my God says. That doesn't make me racist. Bob doesn't mess with Black women, but you don't call him racist. But, that's just the psychology they'll try and play on you for embracing your culture. We're Americans, but every other nationality can embrace their culture, but I can't embrace mine. Oh man, I ain't paying. I'm gonna embrace my culture. I don't care what they think. It doesn't matter to me, because I know the Most High in Christ got my back, and I will fight for Him. Don't nobody else have to. Does not matter. I will. And that was in Genesis. So there's a lot of people, Old Testament laws done away with, even though the laws are not done away with. Here in the I.S.U.P.K, we blown that one all the way out the water. I'm going to go to the New Testament and show you that it's saying the same thing in the New Testament. I'm going to go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. Second Kings, verse 7. 2 Kings chapter 7, verse 26. Who was the people then? Give me one moment, and let me get this point out, and then I'll pull that up and answer that question for you. Nazarite Val 616. So 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. New Testament. Second Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them. Come out from among them. Come out from among the heathen. I'm going to start that over again. Verse 17, chapter 6. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean things, and I will receive you. So if you're not coming out from up under the other nations, and you running around and you eating pork and shellfish, the Most High in Christ is not receiving you. You're just not. You're feeling yourself. You think you blessed. Yes, you're blessed by the devil. The oppressor is the one that's blessing you for going against your culture. Because as long as you go against your culture and break the statute, laws, and commandments, he stays in charge and he can do whatever he wants to you. All right. So I had the question, Second Kings. Let's just go down here. Second Kings, chapter 7, verse 26. Chapter 7, verse 26. There's no verse 26 in chapter 7, but I could pretty much in Second Kings, they're talking about the Israelites. These are the Israelites' records. So it's going through what was going on back in that time. You would have to be more specific with your questions, or more correct with the verse that you quote. So back to Second Corinthians. New Testament. Don't touch nothing unclean. I'm going to go in there and read it again. Second Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So holy, the definition of the word holy is separate. So you could say separate, you could say holy, they're interchangeable. When this book says holy, don't think that little white babies with wings is going to start flying around, and you're going to see people in the clouds with blonde hairs and red cheeks blowing horns. Or no. That's Hollywood. That's not factual. That is not what this book says. Oh, okay. All right. Nazarite. He's got is chapter 17, verse 26. Okay. Slovakia was second. But yeah, and as you see, it also says not to touch unclean things. If the laws were done away with, it would not matter. It would not say that if the laws were done away with. That's the problem with our society today. That's why we have so many abortions, so much gang violence, and so much going on within our community, because this is not taught. The statutes, laws, and commandments, what this whole book is about, the pastors go against. So let's try Nazarite's question again. Yonder bar, no sweat. We're gonna go to Second Kings That's what I am here for. I am here for my people. Chapter 17. Verse 26. All right. 2 Kings, chapter 17, verse 26. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nation which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria, know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them. And because they know not the manner of the God of the land. The people that were placed, see, at this time, this was at the falling, the first time our kingdom fell to Assyria. And after our kingdom fell, they had a practice of moving the people that were in that land out and moving other people in. So we were displaced. A lot of us went into captivity into Assyria. And you could read that, if you read further on, you would come to that point. So the people that were living in our land didn't know the land, and the land would not send them. So the Most High sent lions against them, and they were killed. They actually had to go down and eventually what they did was they went and got some elders that came and taught them how to live in the land. And you will read that once you finish reading through there. And those that did that broke the law, because we're not supposed to teach them our ways. So hopefully that'll clarify it for you. You have any more questions, feel free to ask. I just left 2 Corinthians, showing in the New Testament that is saying the same thing as in Genesis. Showing the example in Genesis of how we're supposed to be separate. I brung out how, hey, the Most High said that pretty much Dr. Martin Luther King was telling lies in his name. So I brung that out. Now I'm going to go to the Leviticus chapter 11, verse 44. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 44. For I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. There it is. For I am the Lord your God, not everybody's God. He says your. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves. Keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and ye shall be holy. You shall be separate, For I am holy, for I am separate. It's in the book. It doesn't make you racist. The I.S.U.P.K hasn't done nothing to anybody. We've been in situations where we've had to protect ourselves, but as far as running around here and jumping on people, no, 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 no. We're under strict code of conduct. This book says to not adore an Edomite. There's specific rules in this book that we follow. We follow the whole book, not just this isn't a box of trail mix. We're just not picking out what we like and ignoring the rest. No, the whole thing. So, and this is the problem with this. I was just watching a show today. They were in Honduras. And in Honduras, they were saying like it's like basically two different type of black communities. And when they said black, they meant black and brown. There was no distinction. They said just when the Spaniards came, some embraced English as their mother language. And because of course they were taught that by the British first. Then the Spaniards came, and since they couldn't understand what they were saying, they forced them into speaking Spanish. So you had the younger generation spoke Spanish, and a lot of the older generation spoke English only. They didn't speak any Spanish. And they were truly black and brown united. Black, brown, and Native Americans, because natives were all throughout the Americas. I mean, the thing that separated them is just the different conquerors, the Spanish, the French, the British, and whoever else came over here. And that's how they ended up speaking those different languages. But even then, I was like, he really thinks that English is their mother tongue. I said, wow, that's just sad, because this book goes in and talks about that. The importance of us being separate. See, us not being separate has cost us our holy language. We don't know our native tongue no more. And it's called the Lash Quash Kadash. We have a class on it here in the I.S.U.P.K, because it's important that we know our ancestral language. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to go over to Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 24. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 24. Now, Nehemiah was a prophet, mighty man. He wasn't no joke. He was not the one to play with. It's like E.F. Hutton. These prophets in this book, all of them, they were no joke. They wasn't those little frail men that could barely walk that you see on the movies. No. These are brothers that would snatch you up. I think Nehemiah ripped his clothes off. It just, my shirt is like a thinner material. They had well woven, cotton clothing then. So, Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 24. Salaki, I'm going to start at verse 23. In those days, also in those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab, heathen nations. And their children speak half in the speech of Ashdod and cannot speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them and plucked off their hair. He went to snatching out hair. Told you, no joke. And made them swear by God, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, and I take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. This brother got so mad, he went to snatching mofos. Oh, I swear, oh no. Yeah, they were like, oh no, I swear I won't do it no more. So, that's just saying. Now, ain't it today? We don't know our native language. People think they speak Spanish. People think they speak English. People think that their language is French. They don't know. It's time for you to learn your native language. Okay, Nazareth, what you say? I just read it, chapter 23. Yeah, he moved Israel out of his sight, as he said, by all his servants, the prophets, are carried away out of their own land to Assyria. Exactly. Salakia, you just answered. The answer to your question is in your reply. Wait a minute. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he has said by all his servants, the prophet. Yeah. Oh, okay. The people that were in that land at the time that we were removed were just different heathen nations. They were people from all over. He just, it was just like it was a land grab. Just think of like when America started bringing out all the immigrants, taking the Native Americans' land over here. It's the same type concept, is what they was doing. And that's when they started getting attacked by the wild animals, and they had to go get some people, that were traitors amongst us to show them, that they had to keep the statute, laws, and commandments. in order to live in that land, and they had to learn all that. So leaving off from Nehemiah, I want to go to Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. Now, here is another example of the Most High letting us know that we are supposed to be separate. There's a repeating theme throughout the book: separate. Law, statutes, commandments. Be separate. Law, statutes, commandments. If you don't keep, this was going to happen. If you do keep, it's a common theme throughout the book. So, we'll go to chapter 25 in Genesis, verse 23. Well, here, let me start at verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be the stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. See, we were supposed to be, we were separated upon conception. We were separated in the belly. Thus say the Most High. That's, and why? Because it is for his glory. That's why. Be glad we're the chosen one. He didn't have to choose us. I'm glad he did. So that's just showing you that common theme: separate, holy, separate, holy. It's not going to be like Martin Luther King, where la 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 la. We're all holding hands and everybody's just, no. I mean, we're going to have peace, but we're going to be over there. They're going to be over there. Everybody's going to be separate. We have our own community. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans encompass a lot of people. All different shades, dark all the way down to light as the paper. The Most High says, my inheritance is like a speckled bird. So don't get caught up in color. don't get caught up in colorism because we're not. That's that's just another ploy of the oppressor, who's the devil that the Bible speaks of, to try and keep us separate. He'll use any ploy he can, any ploy. So, with that, oh, Salakia Nazarite. No, no, no. I get plenty support from the Brotherhood, from the Akim. Yes, I do. I get plenty support. I mean, they're teaching classes. Some brothers teach. Everybody's teaching classes at different times. Um, some people have to work. People got different schedules. So this is like, uh, just a time when that I have, but there are other classes being taught at the same time as I'm teaching. We're into each one teach one. We're into sharing that information. We're trying to get it out there. So, don't just because you don't see any other brothers in this class, don't think that I don't have plenty support. We're always in communication. We talk all the time. Yeah, we talk all the time. So with that, I want to go to Amos chapter 3, verse 2. Salakia, I'm just going to start at the beginning of the chapter. Amos chapter 3, verse 1. Verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you all your iniquities. I got a question. You got kids. You plan on having kids. Or even if you had kids. Say if you tell your son to be home at 7 o'clock and he's out with his friends till midnight running around. Now you done went frantic. Now you finally see him with his friends. Who are you going to punish? Are you going to punish all of them? Or are you going to punish your child for not being home when you told him to? Same concept with our Father. He just says it right there. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. So, yeah, he's telling you right there the reason why. You know. So don't wonder why in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Well, let's just go to it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64, verse 68. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And it says no man shall buy you, says you won't be able to be bought out of slavery. Whatever happens, you're gonna be in slavery. It's a common misconception about the Hispanics, specifically over in Mexico, and the Native Americans. But the Mexico area, they were some of the first people to go into the ships under Christopher Columbus. He shipped them right back to Europe. Sex slaves is documented in slaves. Same thing with the Native Americans. Many of them were shipped back to Europe as slaves, documented. It's all kind of in documentation. You nowadays with technology, you could pull that information up on your cell phone. But with that, I'm gonna end this class. Shalom, Yasharallah.